1, 2, 3, 4.
We're on. This is so fun. We've never done this. Hi, everyone. It's Cel
and Leah.
We're actually together today, which doesn't happen that often when we get to sit in the same room. More often than it used to. But welcome to Girl Chat. You're live with us right now. We're going to talk all the fun things that we always do every week. Everything from fitness to fun stuff. And then also, we get really down to some things from the faith side. So
yes,
I'm super stoked to have you here.
Yes, me too.
And we were actually together yesterday, which was a really cool day for me. I love to schedule photo shoots, group shoots, things like that. And so yesterday it was that. And that's like how I like to celebrate. So
that's her favorite.
It is. Mm-hmm. I just love, for whatever reason, I love photo shoots. I think it's maybe just an opportunity to be free to be yourself.
Yeah.
And like, it's almost like putting on costumes. Mm-hmm. That's the way I feel. Like, I love dancing and performing. So it kind of like meets
it fuels that creative side. Yeah. You get to feel beautiful and glamorous and yeah.
Because
step out of your normal everyday.
Because we were laughing about the fact that like I was giggling about it because like as much as I would like to wear normal clothes, and when I say normal clothes, I mean like the stuff you see everybody put on. Like you see all the like cool outfits and everything. And Suzanne Libframe, I love you, and you're a stylist, and I would love to wear all the things all the time, but the realness of my job, it just doesn't make room for that. So for me, this is like, I get to be cute and sassy and hair and makeup and yeah, super fun.
Yay.
But what was really cool about it is Leah was not supposed to be able to come, and she texted me that morning and said, "Where is the shoot?" And I was like, "Oh, she didn't show up. Like, this is amazing." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to meet you," because I had an individual shoot first with SweatNet. Thank you, SweatNet. Love you, SweatNet. Thank you, Tom. You're amazing. But she texted me, and it was very much outside of norm because she's really busy with her own life and things going on every day. And it would be like a 30-minute drive for her to get there. And it just like was like really surprising that she was able to do that. And come to find out, there's a little more to it.
Yes. So like I was having my quiet time. I'd finished with my clients, my morning ones. And I'm just like praying and talking to God and studying or whatever, eating my breakfast. And I'm like, I like hear in my spirit, like, well, you need to go to Cel's shoot today. And I'm like, what? Am I making that up? Like, Lord, then I start thinking about myself. So this is what we do. I start thinking about myself like, oh my gosh, I don't have an appointment to get my hair done. I'm not getting my makeup and it's almost like not for you, like for her. You just need to go show up. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I have time. I'm like looking at my time. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, I have time. So I texted her and I knew she would be like, oh my gosh, are you coming? And automatically think about me too. Because if I was going to be in town and she had somebody that I could get my makeup done. And I was like, no, really, like just for you. I'm going to come like hang out. And so she sent it to me and it was like, once I got there and what had transpired for her before her shoot, it was evident why God had me show up in that space for her. And then she could go, because she had something even later in the day for more women, and I couldn't be a part of that, but I helped get her ready, and she could then in turn get some other women ready. And so it just shows you that when we're sensitive and we are obedient, when it seems silly or it just seems like why? Like I could have sat there and continued to ask why or shut it down, which so often I've done. And so often we all do. We just shut down what we hear internally. Cause it's not like I heard the audible voice of God, like go meet Cel Leah. Like, do I wish sometimes it was that easy? Like, yeah, can you just tell me but it's not, it's just like a subtle intuition and it's your spirit. And when we follow those, we laugh because we're like, when you follow that and you are obedient, you become more in tune. And that line, I know I've talked about it in other podcasts, that vertical line between you and the Lord gets more sensitive, and we become better at understanding, like, yeah, this may seem silly, but boom, I'm on it. I'm doing it because I know it's going to benefit. It in turn blessed me at how blessed she was. Like, and it really took nothing, like it really took nothing out of me. It only fueled me for the rest of my day. So it's a lesson for all of us and for myself too. Just listen. And when you listen, just go. Like, you have nothing to lose.
Nothing, and don't question it. Like she had no idea what had transpired that day. I had a really rough morning from a work perspective, and I was kind of like, I don't want to say out of it, but like my vibe had changed.
It took her away from what she was doing. I mean, we've all gotten that phone call, that email, that text message that literally takes you from your present moment and what you're doing. I mean, and it's like it just came immediately to steal what she was there doing. And so it was like, you know, no.
Right.
We're getting right back to
It was that immediate like boom. Like she like was able to help me sort out, because like I had all these different outfits out, and I was just in a moment of just trying to like figure out everything in my head, and like she just jumped right in and helped me get into the mode and the vibe I wanted to be in for the rest of the day.
And she normally is that. She is always that for me. Like, I show up to a photo shoot like with nothing. I'm like, yeah, well, she's got everything, and so she's putting all together like my stuff and like throwing me and like telling me to do this. And like when I got to do that for her, and I'm like, wow, look at this. Like, this is a new role for me. Like, how amazing is this that I got to dress. Y'all wait to see these pictures. They are so good.
We had so much fun. But again, that just goes back to it kind of full circles, because it's what you put out and what you like, what vibe you get off what you put out in the world, like putting out love, putting out putting out like being a light. Like, it's so important, because what we talked about, what you sow is what you reap.
Yeah.
And it may not be reaping at that moment.
Yeah.
But it may come later when you really need it.
Yeah. It's so true. It's a spiritual law that you cannot get away from. None of us can get away from. And it's so important how in your spiritual walk, or even your mental walk, it in turn is internalized. Everything internalized is on the out. So all this that we see is a product of what is internally going on, what is internally we put in our mouth, internally what we're seeing through our eyes, through our ear gate. Like, he tells us that, like, out of the mouth is, what comes from the heart. That's what's coming out of the mouth. Like, so it's when you start realizing, this is when I get so amazed with God, because when you start realizing the intricate detail that he took in order to create us, very fine, intricate details, the way our body works in tune with our mind and our spirit. It's like, it's amazing.
It is. And that really takes us to the whole conversation about the physical body. So your mental health, your spiritual health has everything to do with your physical health, in the sense of, if you're constantly feeding off of stress and negativity, that's what your body's ingesting. Not just in your mind and your spirit,
right?
But your body's ingesting that. And we get so focused on food and workouts that we neglect that mental and spiritual side. But that's why we talk about mind, body, spirit. Like, it is the three that will make you a whole person and healthy. Because you can have the food down and you can even be doing the workouts, but there's still that missing link. Because if your head's not in the right space, your heart's not in the right place, you're still not going to be the best version of you. I mean, that's what I think.
Right. I totally agree. You have good and bad cells. We all have good and bad cells, and what you're feeding them, not from a physical standpoint, but from all three, what you feed is what you're ingesting. Now, are there seasons of you're in alignment and it's like everything's rolling in and working and like it's like a high? Like, I mean, like, we're kind of in that season right now where things that we have literally dreamed of I mean, talked about, like
Mhm.
all like things are happening at a much quicker pace, I feel like. But that is not to say all those years prior that we have done all that planning and prepping and talking about and dreaming of and all that. Like we had to do that in order to get here. But yes, everything ingested is spirit, soul, and body.
All of
Like
it.
you're a product. You're a product of all of that.
Absolutely. And there's not anything like, I guess I want to get on this point too about sometimes we're, because we're craving, we talk about high, we're craving a high. And that's, and fat burners are great for that. I mean, let's get real. Caffeine is like, for me, is like a go-to.
It is our favorite drug.
Right. And we talked about this today, and it's like, I need, people are like, I need coffee. I need, I need my pre-workout, whatever. That's a real thing. There's also a point at which it's like feed the beast.
Yeah.
And you just keep feeding that because you're trying to push off you're trying to like either separate from what really is going on, and you're just trying to like, just keep me high. Just keep me up.
Right.
Just keep me, just keep it going. Just keep the caffeine rolling.
You're eventually gonna crash.
Right.
Like eventually we all crash. So yeah, it's not you can have the fake synthetic highs all you want, but until you deal with all the internal crap that a lot of us have from years, whether it's from childhood or from circumstances that we're going through, it's you have to deal with those things. And I feel like the older I get, I'm understanding that the quicker you take care of those underlying things that you've dealt with or not dealt with, the better person you can be.
The more whole person you
Yeah.
can be.
Yeah.
And then I think you can really start to see change, or you can really accept yourself and love yourself.
Yeah.
When you're carrying baggage, or you're carrying, like you talked about, trauma or things from your past, because we even deal with that with some of the conversations we've had about, some of our experiences that we've come out of that have been really hard. You can carry that stuff around for a really long time, and it can weigh you down. And so, when you finally get to a place where you're ready to cut it, like, I'm done with like letting this rule me and letting it be the driver.
Right. Right.
And you want to really love yourself and accept yourself, you got to get rid of it.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you, no amount of you cannot get your body lean enough. You cannot be a part of a team you want to be on. You cannot reach anything and think that that's going to be the savior in a sense. Like when I get here, or when I lose this, or when I make that team, or when I whatever it is, when I build that house, or when I have a second home, or whatever it is, it's not like it's all that stuff is so fleeting. It's not bad. That's the thing, is like it's such a balance. Like it's not bad, but if that's when that becomes your soul source or your soul energy, like that's it. That's when it's not going to be fulfilling.
So that's a big part of like your fitness journey, and talking about your fitness journey. There's so many other pieces other than the food and the workouts. And so we just encourage you, like, if you're on a fitness journey right now, like, take some time to, journal and find out what other things are going on and what could make your journey better. Like, what could you let go of today that would make your journey even better? Or what's the one thing that you feel like would sabotage your journey? Because I think that's the other thing about being healthy, is we allow life to sabotage those things. Women especially, we're not good at prioritizing our health.
Right.
And we're so concerned about taking care of everybody else that we'll put ourselves on the back burner. And it's like, and we hear this a lot, and this is a lot of conversation that you hear a lot of times about women, and what kind of frustrations or places we hit, but it's just real. I mean, it's real stuff. I mean, there have been seasons where, I would, maybe not do something that I would really enjoy for myself, and that actually I totally needed. And it seems so freaking selfish to the outside, But for me, it's what I needed. Like a photo shoot, y'all. That was a need for me.
Yeah.
Like that was a need for me. So as silly as that is, like, but am I a much happier person for doing it? Yes.
Right.
Did everybody around me feel all the good vibes? Yes. So when you're doing something for yourself, it does like affect everything else.
Yeah, it does.
So you have to take the time.
Yeah.
You know, go to the gym. Go in your backyard. Do 15 minutes. Take a walk.
Right. I mean, well, there's so much fitness at your fingertips. Like there really is no excuse. And even I laugh because I'm like, even those 10 minutes, like those, you know, how people used to say, like, just 10 minutes, like go walk around. Like, I literally take those 10 minutes now. Like, I mean, if I haven't, because if I'm putting so much out for everyone else or all my clients, I'm getting them through their workout, or I'm in the store and I'm helping out with that. Like, but then I didn't ever do it for myself. Like I literally take those 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes, where it ends up like I got an hour workout, but it was just split up. Like my body doesn't really know that. Like I had to hit workout 6 times a day. Like, I mean, that's really beneficial when you think about fat burn. Like, so don't begrudge the times where it's not your solitude of an hour or 2 hours in the gym, or you haven't prepped your 6 meals that day or something. Like it doesn't have to be hard. Yes, like when you have things to get ready for and you need to prepare and all that, those are fun, but this is about a lifestyle and taking care of yourself, and everything's not going to always be. Don't wait on the perfect.
Yeah,
You'll never
but
don't
that's
wait
not-
on the perfect time,
No.
or when you feel like you're ready. Like
That's my favorite.
Yep.
I'm gonna wait for when I feel.
You will
When is
never,
that gonna happen?
You will never. We will never feel like that. Like, yeah. Dieting is uncomfortable. Hold on. My husband always says this. He'd be like, fat burning. This is what he tells people in the store. Fat burning and losing weight is an uncomfortable situation. And until you're ready for that, it's not a situation. It's an uncomfortable feeling or something. And it is. I mean,
it's not fun.
You're not having that high of like, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm on plan. It's like, man, 2 weeks in, come back to me and talk to me about how that fat burning situation's going. And I'm telling y'all, in the leanest times that I've ever been, I am miserable. You don't have to live that way. You can't walk around at 10% body fat as a female, like,
and be happy.
Trust me, you will be uncomfortable. And if you're not yet, come see me, because I'll get you a little bit lower and we'll make it miserable. Like, it's just and this leads me to my point today about we are not all pro athletes. This one here is very gifted. And y'all, her Instagrams, I love them. And she flies in the air and she jumps and she pounds the ground. And like, but we are not all supposed to do that. Like, you're not a pro athlete. Like, and you don't have to hold your standards at what really you're trying to obtain. So many people are trying to do and eat and be like these people that have been doing this since they were kids. Mm-hmm. Literally, she's been doing plyometrics since she was a kid. Her dad is flipping off the dock at 70 years old. Like, that's genetics. That's another dive deeper into. Now, I am not telling you you cannot, or you are not meant to be, or what. I'm not telling you, I'm just saying, don't hold yourself at these such high standards of athletic prowess. Like, you weren't made, all of us were not made to do that and to be that. That is not that. Sometimes it's raising your standards, and sometimes because there are people that like can do more than they want to do. I myself probably a lot of times could do more. I don't want to smash my face, or she's always asking me to do Spartans, right? Climb walls, and not like my dad didn't allow me to play sports. I always had to dance and cheer and do but I grew up with brothers, so I have that in me, but like, I'm like, oh no, probably shouldn't. Like, and Cel's like, oh, but you probably can. And I'm like, but I'm not going to. So, I'm just saying, sometimes you got to push, and so you got to know. And sometimes you're like, no, back it off. Like
Mhm.
your 40-year-old body, 50-year-old body, even 30-year-old body is not 18 and wasn't jumping and flipping like this one was when she was younger and has been for many years. And so you shouldn't feel bad about yourself or it is still listening to your body and knowing when to push and when not to.
And
Having
so-
the right coach.
I say that I totally agree with you on that too, because I think that that's even something I don't think much about it when I'm doing plyos, because that's just part of, I mean, that's just kind of how I'm built.
Who she is.
Right. And again, that goes back to me looking at it here, and this will kind of rolls right into when you're looking at photos and you're seeing people on Instagram and you're seeing these people that you aspire to be. There's nothing wrong with having somebody that inspires you or motivates you to push yourself. Where it gets tough is when you start comparing yourself to them.
Right.
You may not be the same build. You may not be the same height. You may not have the same background. All you're looking at is a photo. Other things that you don't know about photos. How are they styled? How are they positioned? Like there's so many other things involved than just what a picture tells you.
Right.
So don't get wrapped up in trying to compare, well, I want to look like that. I wouldn't say like you don't want to look like that, but like that's the kind of maybe build you want, or you kind of want to, what kind of training have they done to get there? Maybe I need to lift weights more if I want, more muscle.
Right.
Those are the kinds of things that are fine. It's just when you get in comparison mode and you maybe attempt to do things that you shouldn't do, or you get down on yourself because you can't.
Yeah. And your body's screaming at you, telling you, no, listen. Like you just have to be in tune and like just back off.
Well, we had to tell one of our clients, which you can work with us, by the way.
Yes.
We had to tell one of our clients today she was grounded.
Right. Yes.
And it was because her knees are in so much pain, and it's not that she can't do it.
No.
Because she loves to do this kind of stuff, but it literally is causing her pain. And there's a huge difference between to me, I would say there's good pain and bad pain. So good pain would be like you're sore. That's good pain.
Right.
Bad pain is if it's in your joints.
Yes. And you don't have to be in pain or even sore to make progress. You don't. Like, I know there are people out there like, I want to feel it. Like, I want to know that you trained me today. Like, and that is great and it's good, but it's not necessary in order to make progress. And you don't have to hurt, and you shouldn't hurt. Your joints should not hurt on a regular basis. Now, sometimes when you try new things and something's new and all that, like, yeah, you are gonna be in a little bit of pain. But in something, it's just such a complex topic and conversation because I think about my early days in college and lifting weights, and like I was just learning you have to learn mentally to break past that pain barrier, because that's how you build muscle. A lot of times women don't want to eat enough and they don't want to lift because they think they're going to be manly, which will never happen unless you take anabolic steroids. You can never look like a man. And these athletes that you see, I'm going to straight up tell you, they are taking stuff to look like that. And to gain more muscle and to grow larger. But you yourself, a natural person and a natural athlete a female will never look like a man. Now, do some women have more androgen receptors than other women do? Absolutely. But that comes down to genetics. So genetics do play a part. It's just such a topic that we could go on forever,
ever,
depending on the person who we're talking to and dealing with. But because I do encourage my clients and our clients to find motivation or find bodies that you do like, and
absolutely,
you aspire to look like or to be like that. That helps me envision, like, okay, what are we going for? And then I can push you in that direction. But it's not beating yourself up. she has to go that route almost to, because her body is so used to that, that really, I'm going to put this out there, and I might get people that don't agree with me, and that's okay. Like, but you don't need to do plyometrics unless you have an athletic background. You don't have to be jumping and running, sprint, like, unless you have that background where your body can handle it and absorb it and take it in.
Like, I actually love plyos, and I love HIIT training, and I love all the crazy stuff. I love being active, period. So I think that's where, but I'm also very accepting of where I am in my life right now, and that my body does take hits. And I know how hard I can push and when I have to pull back. So that's the whole thing, is like, just be willing to listen to what your body is saying. Don't be afraid to speak up, to make changes, to adjust, because just because you have to make adjustments in your training and your eating doesn't mean you have to adjust your goal.
Right.
Just means you have to adjust how you're going to
approach
get
to how to
there.
get there.
Yeah. Your goal doesn't have to change.
Mhm.
You just might have to do things a little different.
That's right. I love that. Yeah. I had a guy that used to come in the store at our last one, and he used to say, and he was a triathlete, or he was doing triathlons, and he was like 76 years old. And I was just praising him for that he was still working out that hard. And he was like, you know what I realized? He said, it's not that I can't do all that, because he had done this all his life. Here again, he was always a runner, a biker, a swimmer, like, so he was like, it's not that I can't do the things that I love anymore. My recovery approach has to change. And I have to realize that my body can't handle and recover like it used to. So now all I focus on is recovery. And I'm like, that's so true. Like, we don't have to stop doing the things that we love. And I push everyone I talk to about training, do find what you love, because that's what's going to be consistent. We love the weight room. We always have. We've always lifted weights, like, since we were younger, college age. Like, so we're very comfortable. That would be something I do until, like, as long as I'm still here, like, I'm going to be doing that because it's really what I love. But have I already seen where my recovery has to change, and I have to be more aware of how I recover, because I don't wake up like I'm 18 again and I can just go hit it the same way that I did the day before. No, it takes a lot more discipline in the recovery area now than it ever has.
Well, and this is going to lead me into this next piece of our conversation, because as we get, because we're talking about getting older, recovery and all this is really important, but there's also been, like, I would consider this a buzzword. So this is my question for Leah today. So this is Ask Leah Anything when it comes to supplements. And we're going to talk about collagen, because I hear about collagen on the regular. There are all kinds of supplements out there. It can get overwhelming with the conversation. You need it. You've got to have it. But which way do you go? Which one's good? So, like, give us the 411 on that.
Okay. So there's not a whole lot of studies. We're still experimenting. There's not a whole lot of studies that you can even go to and get information in that there's still the word is still out. But there are, because I took a few notes, like there are over 28 types, which I didn't know, because I only use the bovine, because I've read research that's the one that's the one that you're supposed to use. So that's the one that I have focused on. It's a hydrolyzed pure bovine collagen. And even like the topical ones in your makeup and all that, like, it's like, no, that one hasn't been proven to help. Like, now down the road, I'm not saying stop using it, keep using it, because they're still doing research is still coming out, but it has been proven, and it's safe and it's effective. And I this is how I relate it to, like, your body makes it, our body, so how could it be bad? Those are one of those things I'm going to invest in. And I'm going to invest in the good one. Like, I use our pure encapsulations, which is pharmaceutical grade. And I take it twice a day, and it's supposed to be for skin, for joints, for hair, for all kinds of things. And it's like, I'll be one of those experimenters, because I know, based on research, that we lose our collagen and elastin as we age, which
sadly, that's a sad thing.
We lose that. So why would I not want to be investing in that and putting it back in?
Well, we want to be putting it back in. Like, I don't want, like, just
Hoping that long-term research is going to pay off in my benefit and it's going to help me out. But there's not a ton of research on it, but bovine hydrolyzed collagen, yeah, pure. And you want like 5 to 10 grams a day. And if it's mixed in like your protein, listen, I carry it. We carry it all because some people don't want to pay what pure bovine collagen costs. Like, so they want the one that's mixed in their protein, or they want to take the pills, which your stomach is going to have to break down and then absorb whatever it can get out of it. Anytime you can take a pure powder, even powder over liquid, but powder or liquid, I love because it goes straight in your system. It's going to, you're going to get all of it instead of your stomach having to break it down, your intestines and all that. So, anytime you can get it by itself, that goes for creatine, glutamine, any of your aminos that you can get by themselves is always going to be a better concentration than the pills or being in your protein or anything like that, or even topically. It's going to be better absorbed.
I think this is so important because I think this is why we think that this podcast is to help break some of the myths or talk about some of the buzzwords we hear, seeing like all the stuff that's out there. We're constantly being fueled with, take this, do that, look younger. You're going to look younger. And for a long time, that wasn't even a thing for me. Like, I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into it. I'm fortunate that my mom and dad both still look pretty young and at their age. And so I feel like I have good genetics on my side, but I do see changes. I mean, we've talked about changes I've seen in my skin, and just even with weight training, like having cellulite. Do I like telling you that right now that I actually have some and I'm not proud of it? And it frustrates me, but it's real. But I
Can we see it? No,
but
you probably
we all have things that we see. Right? We all have things that we see, and we see changes in our body, and it's so frustrating. You're like, can we just fix that? Like, just fix it. And the part about it is like, yes, there are things that we can do, and that we can do every day. And so when this whole thing came up with collagen, I've been doing some research too, because I have joint pain now that I didn't have. My skin's different than it was. So I was like, oh, this is good because people are talking about this. This is out there all the time on social media. And I just feel like when we have these conversations and we open it up, like she just told me some things I didn't know. I didn't know the research hasn't been finished, because when you hear people talk about collagen, they act like,
y'all, the marketing is ridiculous on some of these when you really go and dive into medical papers where they've actually done the real research, and you see like, okay, they took 800 women, and like when you think, okay, so 800 is not a whole lot. They only studied them for 12 to 16 weeks. Like, you realize that what these companies are basing their claims off of is not really real. So a lot of times in supplements and vitamins and minerals, like it's all experimentation. Like, and I am all for like, hey, y'all, we could even get into another study. I read these things all the time.
Well, we have had a great time with you today.
Yes.
I feel like we've talked about a lot of different things. We hope that you will continue listening to us on this podcast. We have some fun things coming up that we'll keep you posted on. But if you want to learn more about us, you can follow us at CP Method. You can follow me at Cel Smart.
And Leah Elizabeth _V.
So stay tuned for next episode. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
1